Well, on Thursday, President Trump will be turning his attention to relations with another world leader, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The leader of the world's biggest democracy enjoyed a good relationship with Trump during his first term in office. But Thursday's White House meeting could be testier, with anger brewing in India over controversial US deportation flights and the Trump administration's plan to announce new tariffs on India.
The two world leaders enjoyed a rare political bromance. In packed arenas in front of roaring crowds, they traded compliments like trophies.
My friend, a friend of India, a great American president, Mr. Donald Trump.
A man who works night and day for his country, and a man I am proud to call my true friend, Prime Minister Modi.
Five years on, many people in India believe this bromance will continue now that Trump is US president again.
Modi's friendship with Trump will be good for the future. Many US companies will invest in India. America is a big and good country.
Both are nationalist leaders, and they have both been putting the country first and everything later.
Modi and Trump's friendship is very good, but they must address the immigrants that were just sent back, because they were not criminals.
These images have upset many in India. Released by US Border Patrol, complete with rousing music, they show shackled countrymen being deported in a US military plane. The signaling was clear, says Suhasini Haidar, one of India's top foreign policy journalists.
The first time a military plane has come. And obviously the message when a country sends a military plane to another country is that this is unchallengeable, or if you challenge it, you do it at your own risk.
India's government didn't publicly protest the shackles and says it will accept its citizens. The US has reportedly identified about 18,000 undocumented Indians for deportation. But Suhasini Haidar says this won't get in the way of Trump and Modi's relationship.
If you ask me what is the magic between them, it's about the fact that each of them benefits politically, domestically from the relationship with the other.
India first, America first. Both Trump and Modi take a hardline approach to national security and economic protectionism.
Trade, immigration, the kind of comments Mr. Trump makes, these are all things that can become hiccups in the relationship. But the relationship itself is on very firm footing.
And it's more than pomp and ceremony. As global power shifts, the US and India share common concerns in the Indo-Pacific. Their main focus, China.
So any signals they put out between them will be very, very important, not just for India, but for the rest of the world as well. For 25 years, we've seen that relationship only grow militarily, in terms of defense imports, in terms of vital supplies for India, and now for the future in terms of critical and emerging technologies, or in terms of AI or quantum computing. India sees the benefits of a good relationship with the US as the US does with India.
Images like these symbolize the Modi-Trump relationship last time around. The reasons to revive it may feel even stronger now.
Michael Kugelman is the Deputy Director of the Asia Program at the Wilson Center think tank in Washington, D.C. and joins us now. Michael, good to see you. Modi is one of the first foreign leaders to meet Trump since he returned to the White House. How important are these ties for both sides?
Well, they're very important. And indeed, the fact that Modi will be just the fourth foreign leader to meet with Trump is an indication of just how important the Trump administration views this relationship. The prior third leaders are all close allies of the U.S. and are also dealing with urgent priorities, such as the war in Gaza. But with India, I think that from the Trump administration's side, it's an opportunity for the president to reassert a longstanding friendship with Prime Minister Modi, which extends back nearly 8 years. And this is a relationship that's grown exponentially over the last few decades. And one could argue that the issue of China has been a real big fuel for the relationship, as you've seen a strategic partnership develop, as these two countries have both seen their relations with Beijing fall to their lowest levels in years, and they've both wanted to work together to counter Chinese power.
So both men love a photo opportunity, but what is top of Modi's wish list? What does he need most from Trump at a time when he's slapping tariffs on so many countries?
Well, I mean, indeed, India wants to make sure that it is not slapped with tariffs. And to this point, I think it's been doing all the right things. Soon after Trump took office, Indian officials essentially said they were willing to reduce tariffs. And in fact, they have. India just announced its new federal budget for the coming year, and it indicated that some tariffs would be reduced. I think that's something that will make it very unlikely that when Trump meets Modi this week, that he would actually make a very direct demand of Modi to reduce tariffs. But the stakes are high for India because for all we talk about the Indian growth story, India's economy has become increasingly fragile in recent months. And so India really cannot afford to be slapped with tariffs at this juncture. And that's why I think that what we might see at this meeting between Modi and Trump is Modi essentially making a pitch to President Trump for some type of negotiation leading towards some type of deal, not necessarily a free trade agreement, but a deal that would enable both countries to reduce their tariffs.
Right, so critical moment. What kind of concession could Modi offer? Because Donald Trump will normally want something from a transaction.
Well, I mean, one concession is to reduce tariffs, and I imagine that Trump might ask Modi to commitment to reducing more than India has already done. I suspect India will be receptive to that. I think that India knows that President Trump will want India to buy America, as Trump does with so many countries, and I think that Modi will be ready to say that India has a willingness to import more American energy, perhaps oil, perhaps gas as well. And then, of course, though it's a bit of a delicate issue, India has indicated its willingness to take back a number of undocumented Indian immigrants in the United States. And this is something that India has already done. You had a plane load of just over 100 of them returned to India last week. So, yeah, I think that India will be ready to make concessions. And that's significant, given that this is an Indian government that's very confident, strong, and nationalistic. The fact that it's willing to make all these concessions to the new Trump administration already, I think, is an indication of just how much it wants this relationship with the U.S. to work.
Is a transactional Trump, and that's very much what we're talking about here, this transaction between these two leaders, is a transactional Trump easier for Modi to deal with compared to a US president who might be more critical of, say, the declining civil liberties in India?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is certainly what India prefers. It's always very sensitive to any type of external criticism of its internal affairs, including its human rights and democracy record. And indeed, we're not going to see much of that from the Trump administration. And I think when you're looking at a leader like Trump, who's very transactional, this is something that India will be comfortable with. One reason for that is that Modi and much of his cabinet knows Trump very well. The current Modi cabinet is essentially the same cabinet that was in power during Modi's previous term, which happened to overlap with several years of the first Trump administration. So I think that that'll be very helpful for India, and perhaps it could hedge against the unpredictability factor with Trump, that one oftentimes you don't know what's coming next. But this is a government in New Delhi that does have a sense as to what Trump is all about, what makes him tick, and what to expect.
A fascinating relationship. Michael Kugelman from the Wilson Center think tank in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.